Let's take a second.
No problem.
There you go.
Awesome, thank you. Hello, folks, welcome to the Board of Education meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please join me for the pledge?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll take care of the roll call up here. I got it. So I am here. Howard Collins will not be here. Mr. Donahue, here. Amanda Durkee. Here. Christina Durkee will not be here. John Guglielmo.
Here.
Timothy Clark.
Here.
Carol Basham.
Here.
And Ella Hall, our student, is here. Okay, folks, we are going to take care of our recognition of successes, and then we'll get into the budget hearing right after that. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mel.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Again, I am Rich DeMel, the superintendent, and I'd like to, we have 3 events tonight that we are going to recognize for success. First, we want to recognize the artists that contributed artwork to the Arts for Pups fundraiser. This was an inaugural fundraiser sponsored by the Lucky Pup Rescue in collaboration with Argyle art teacher, Miss Margaret Bartow, and our art teacher, Miss Nicole Schilling, and another art teacher from Granville. The following students completed a 4 by 4 inch mini canvas painting of either their own dog, a rescue dog at the shelter, or a request from a community member, or from a Lucky Pup Facebook follower, or from a volunteer at the rescue. They could paint it either in acrylic or oil as their medium, and all proceeds go to the Lucky Pup Adoption Center in Argyle. The students who donated their time for this special program and deserving of this recognition for success are, and we have 15 students, and I know there are 15 students out there, so I will do my best to go through these as quickly as you can. If I call your name and you're out there, please come up to the board, acknowledge each board member, and get your certificate from Mr. Roche. The first, Linnell Colvin.
Good job.
Right there. There you go. Nice job. Nice job. Sophia White. Spencer Smith. Jules Mercier. This shot. Calvin Boucher. Felicity Columbetti. Ollie Cutler. Alexa Dubé Ensler. Ella Duquette. Olivia Madison. Maharet Monroe. Silas Monroe. Liliana Stark. Eva Stewart. And Hannah Waterhouse. The second event for special recognition goes to the students who submitted artwork for the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame's annual Student Art Exhibition Show. This is an all-area show where artwork is submitted from any of the schools in the Capital District, and the following students submitted work: Linnell Colvin. Sophia White. Spencer Smith. Jules Lusayer. Good job. Receipt. I apologize, sorry. Felicity Colombetti. Ollie Cutler. Alexa Dubé Hensler. Ella Duquette. Olivia Madison. Silas Monroe. Eva Stewart. And the last person placed third with her piece, Lucky Number 7. And that's Maharet Monroe. All of the students' artwork will be on display at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame at 191 Union Ave in Saratoga Springs until next Monday, May 15th. So please go down and check out all of those pieces of artwork. The third event we would like to recognize for success goes to 2 second grade students for their second place finish in the Fidelis Coloring Contest. And those 2 students are, first, Emily Gardner and Serenity Gamble. Thank you. Now we want to do a special recognition. We'll move to that portion of the evening and recognize 1 organization and 2 individuals for their generous donation to our school. First, we'd like to recognize the American Legion Post 574 for their donation of an American flag to hang proudly in front of our school. Thank you to the American Legion. And second, we want to recognize Mr. Bob Bearday for his donation of an American flag to be flown proudly on the flagpole on our athletic field. And third, we would like to recognize Mrs. Leisha Carpenter for her donation of a new POW flag that proudly flies in the front of our school below the new American flag. Mr. Roche, back to you.
Thank you again to everyone. Congratulations to our recipients. We will turn the meeting now over. Budget hearing. Take it away. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, before you begin this, anyone that needs to go, feel free. We're getting into the budget hearing now, and the rest of the board is in consider. Now's the time to go. Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
All right, welcome to our budget hearing here at Fort Edward School. And it's been a long process, but I'm so glad that we're able to take this journey together. And our goal tonight is again to provide business direction through transparency and detail. And note again, our number projections are fluid, but they're better than they were from the start. So this is actually a kind of a developed picture from all the meetings that we've had. Tonight's budget hearing, we're going to go over the three-part budget of the administrative, program, and capital. We will review our expenditures and revenue estimates, school district budget notice, estimated fund balance, and our estimated property tax. And here is our three-part budget. And if you can see in the difference here, there's a little bit slightly uptick, but here is what's different from last year's budget. We're at $670,000 more. But keep in mind our CPI, which is the inflation rate, is at 8%. Here are our estimated expenditures, and we've detailed each of the budget lines. And if you're looking for more detail to it, keep in mind this is our 6th presentation. We have all of the details in our past presentations. And here's our estimated revenues. And these numbers, again, are based on the latest state projection. And if you will look at the difference between what we are now over from last year's budget versus what we're getting back from New York State, that actually is a complete balance. We actually are $30,000 less than what the state is giving us an extra. So that's actually very helpful when they have the foundation aid. And we've actually been able to know how to staff our students better. That's with those receiving other services outside of the school with public and private assistance. And here's our school district budget notice. That was also a part of your Pathways mailings that hopefully you all received. And we're going to talk about contingency and the fact that that's removing all of, if we do go to the vote next week and it doesn't pass and we go to contingency budget, we actually have to take all the, what they call non-essentials out of the budget. That's what we've done there. But that's removing things that, again, would be supplies and materials, equipment. This is something that you don't really want to do because you want to keep our school moving forward. Here's our estimated fund balance. Keep in mind these are still in projection. We are still getting good aid. And right now, you'll see about $700,000 in our fund balance, and that's after we've appropriated some of our funds. We put $800,000 into our capital reserve for a potential capital project. So we are trying to be wise stewards with your money. Again, this is a job we take very hearty. This is something I take responsibility for. I'm very diligent in looking at where our needs are. And this, as a taxpayer, is probably a very important slide. This is our estimated property tax for a house estimated assessed at $100,000 value. And you'll see that most of us were receiving no star. It's actually only $40 more than last year's tax, which is $333 per month. If you are receiving basic star, your numbers are here. Star savings is $536. And then enhanced star is $1,072. And any questions?
One thing, could you speak up a little louder? All of this, when you give me the answer to the question.
Absolutely.
I know y'all got much there, but you're not in, I can't hear you that well.
Is there something in particular you want me to
I
answer?
heard you, but I'm speaking there, like, I can't hear.
Okay.
You gotta speak up a little louder, get the microphone. Now you want questions? Could somebody explain proposition two to me, the funding, except, I know you get state aid in that, but what else do you, where do you get the money for the rest of the money?
Go to your revenue slide.
For construction, and I know the state aid formula is 90% for construction. So where do you get the rest of the money?
Go to your revenues, go to your revenues.
Well, right now we're increasing the levy.
He's setting up the capital reserve fund, he's asking about where you're gonna get the money from, setting up the capital reserve fund. Obviously, you set a criteria of what you wanna get to, and he knows that you get a percentage of aid based on capital projects. He wants to know where the balance of the money is gonna come from to help fund it. Obviously, it's not gonna be all in here, it's gonna be,
Correct.
of course, 10 years, but where does the money actually come from is what he's asking.
Yeah, we took the $800,000 of our fund balance, and that's kind of a down payment. And we have a 5-year plan that will actually allow that money and revenue to stream through. So that's where most of that money will be generated. But we are hoping, obviously, to put more money into that project as we move forward.
If you get into that reserve fund, where do you get the money? I know you get some money from the state for construction, but you're talking about these other items that probably aren't funded by the state. If they are, they're only 90%. I think that's our ratio of 90, isn't it?
96.
Yeah, our building aid here,
96 now?
yes,
96.
at Fort
Yes.
Edward's 96.
Oh, the other 4%, it's gotta come from someplace.
Well, again, we're gonna try to look at how to increase tax levies over the years. We also have a potential pilot coming aboard. So there's some monies that we're anticipating, but we have at least 2 of our presentations. We have a 5-year plan where they talked about how that money is going to be generated throughout that capital project.
And I think that could be information that could be shared. I think that's information that could be shared with you or with others, is that 5-year plan, because that really mapped out that capital project. And we reviewed that 5-year plan several times throughout the course of this year, and it has morphed and again changed because more numbers come through. But really, the plan with that 5-year plan is to get the capital project, get all of the ducks in a row and lined up so that it can be a tax neutral project. That is the goal, and that it's all outlined in that 5-year plan, which I think could be shared even on the website, maybe the most recent one could be shared on the website, or if you want paper copies, maybe get a paper copy too.
If the money information stuff is coming out of the fund, it doesn't come out of tax.
Correct. So let me try to explain this as best as I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So the $850,000 that we have set aside for a $12 million potential project. So what happens is you borrow that $12 million, and each year that you have to pay on that, we are getting 96% back. So what we do is we average if the 5-year plan or the extended plan comes back, it says $50,000 for the taxpayer. That $850,000 will be paid out for over that time, and we'll take $50,000 each so that there's no burden on the taxpayer for that capital project. Then the loan money that comes back, so for example, $100,000, you have $96,000 coming back in that in the second year. As you keep paying that on, the state aid comes back in, and you take down your debt, but your state aid keeps going, and at one point, it again moves the teeter-totter so that the state aid actually exceeds what you owe. And that's how we're able to do it. Am I correct?
That's correct.
As best as I can. Does that make sense a little bit?
No, that's okay, fine.
All right.
I just wanted to, it's kind of very vague here.
Yes.
I heard you mention a potential pilot program. What does that mean? Do you have any idea?
Was that the pilot?
The pilot. What was that question again, Dean? Yeah, that's for that power line coming down through.
Thank you.
Yep.
I didn't know if you were referring to the project in Irving tissue that they.
No, this was the,
Are gonna start.
No, we've only been informed of that pilot for the power line, and I think that money will be coming in a couple of years. But that could also, if you look at the 5-year plan that Amanda talked about, there's also that could be a tax issue on that, but not for this year.
Which is part of why the 5-year plans are so important, and I've really appreciated in my time here on the board, it's been the same company that has done the 5-year plans, and then this year they have come and presented to us several times, which has been very beneficial in helping to map out where we are, where we're going, what the goals are, and at the last one, Sarah Bradshaw had pointed out, that we're really have a good trajectory right now for the pieces that we're working on.
Then my concern was, you are taking money out of the general fund.
Yes, sir.
That was I wanted to be clear.
Yes, sir. I want to say this year we are taking, is it $370,000 out of there?
are we talking
The general, 361,000 will be coming out of the general fund.
You took it out this year.
This year, last year it was 440,000. So we are 10%, we took 10% less out of the fund balance this year than we did last year.
Correct.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this, because a lot of times, you can only have a 4% fund balance. But a lot of times you take it, you have more money, you take it, you shift it to a different category.
Correct.
Like this category.
Correct.
It won't show up here, but it shows up in the future.
I believe you are correct, I think, in what you're saying.
That's what's going on.
Thank you for those questions.
We do appreciate it, especially since, again,
Oh, yeah,
it's your money.
I sort of missed it on the annex. What did you do on the annex, the town and the village?
We're moving forward with that. We approved that last last board meeting. And the town and the village have signed off on it, so I think it's just a matter of getting the land surveyed and then moving it over to the town and the village.
If it passes.
If it passes, we have a, yes,
Is the building going over?
yes.
Spent a lot of money on that village and garage. Different category? Fund balance, guys got me confused on fund balance. Usually there's only one fund balance, the rest of the capital money is put into different categories. Just like you got this, capital fund. How come
You're talking about the
you're sitting
reserves?
here
The reserves.
Yep.
with the adjusted restricted fund balance of $1.9 million? What is that? What's that $1.9 million?
He's talking about the adjusted unrestricted fund balance of,
Adjusted restricted fund balance.
you're talking on the, where?
Which page?
Is that the property tax report?
Let me see where you're looking.
The top line.
Let me see where you're looking. Where are you looking? The adjusted restricted fund balance of 1.9. Yep.
What is that?
That was the fund balance before we put things in the reserves.
Correct. Before we took
You
the,
had that much?
That was,
And the other one, I know the other one is what you put towards the budget.
there you go.
361.
correct.
What is the other one?
That's what we have left over.
Unrestricted. It was $1.8 million last year,
Yeah.
now it's 67.
We have
Yes,
almost 700,000 in fund balance left over.
that's what's left over.
Yeah, but where's the money for the 516,000?
The 500, that's going into our reserves. That capital reserve,
So that's why I've never seen it like this. It's always been a fund balance, short fund balance, and the rest of them are put into the reserves or certain funds. that don't show up with the fund balance, don't show up on the tax.
We're giving you everything.
I do a lot of these, I say, I've never seen that. That's what I was wondering.
Okay.
Now I know where money goes.
All right. Yeah.
Now I have one more thing. In the last few years, we've hired over 10 people. Are any of them hired through COVID? Were any of the teachers or any staff that come back hired through COVID?
Hired through during COVID?
With COVID money, you mean, sir?
They were, when they got the money, over $1 million, you had COVID money. At that time, we hired between then and now, we hired over 10 people. You would hire any of them on COVID. At the time they were putting in, was hired through COVID. That
So
can be-
before-
that can be a problem. If they were hired through COVID, it can be a problem.
You're absolutely right. So before I got here, they did have people coming out of the COVID money. Through some of the things that Mr. Rader has been able to do, we've been able to move them into our general fund and away from that federal money.
The problem is that they've been hired for the salary and benefits and then COVID. When that money goes, where do they go?
It's not under that anymore, it's been
Where do
adjusted.
they go when the money goes?
It's not under that anymore, it's been adjusted and moved to a different.
No,
Yes.
they've got to go someplace.
Yes.
Somebody's got to pick it up.
We moved it to the general budget.
$300,000 at the time it happened. Who's gonna pick up the $300,000?
Yeah, we've taken measures to protect those folks, and now their salaries are in the regular budget, and they're no longer falling under those COVID grants, if you will, and that money's being used elsewhere, so.
I think that's what I brought up, because, I don't expect anybody to do a good job. But the thing is, somewhere along the line, you heard about COVID, and COVID disappears.
In two of our presentations, we
Let's
actually
find
addressed
some way
that
to
concern.
maintain it now, to get their salaries and benefits back in line.
We already did that.
Yeah, we've addressed that concern twice in our presentations. One of them was on our,
That's all I'm worried about.
the budget for workshop, we actually clearly addressed what happens after our ESSER money goes away.
Is there any COVID money left?
We do have $800,000 currently, yes. But not all of that is going to salaries, and what we've done is we strategically,
Now, their salaries and benefits, everything.
we've strategically addressed that, and the best part is going forward next year, because we are all about the future, nobody will lose their jobs as a result of losing that money.
My concern is, I don't have to look at the plan for next year or the year after.
Correct.
We should be set on the part of the budget. I suppose.
Correct. And we've actually had a forward thinking as we were going through with our budgets and our monies, yes.
People did a good job on this year, only raised their budget for $40 on the top, or 10, so,
But again, valid concern, it's something that we've taken, again, very,
done a good job.
we wanted to make sure this is thorough, and we were looking at every detail, and that was definitely a budget presentation item that we addressed twice, and nobody is losing their jobs once that money is going away.
Now, somebody put in here, public school attendance, 413, 366, 47 kids left in the district.
Yes.
Wow. That's the thing you gotta look at,
Yes, sir. We are.
not only children and staff. We're around somehow, but,
We're doing our best. Thank you for your questions, sir. We appreciate your time.
Anyone else have any questions? Before we close the meeting? Budget getting out today. Okay, thank you, folks. Budget hearing is now closed. Is there any community comments?
No.
And, okay, presentation. Marco is going to talk to us about our school division wrap-up report. Mike?
vote?
Sure. Forward. Okay. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about one of my favorite parts of the year, which is our after-school enrichment program. It surely does take a village, and Casey was fantastic and gave you all a hard copy, so I'll kind of go through. So how does it help our students? It definitely helps with building confidence, giving them a chance to explore in some topics that they might not be able to cover in the regular classroom. It's a safe place for kids to come after school, extends their school day, and I think we've sparked some curiosity in some of the kids through some of the programs that we provided this year. So this is just a couple fun facts. I think Dr. Damali covered some of these in one of the last board meetings, but the one part that kind of gets me is that 15 courses offered. You could kind of consider them little clubs, if you will. And for a small school like ours, I feel like that's quite an offering for kids 3 through 6. And it also gives our teaching staff, our support staff, an opportunity to kind of run with something that they're really passionate about and draw in some kids that in some areas that might not normally be into, other activities that are at a club level or in a, community sport. So the 800 minutes of extra support time, that's another one that kind of grabs me, where if they needed the help, they were able to get it down in the cafeteria. So I did provide just kind of a look at where we've been through our after-school enrichment program, and so that kind of tells the story leading up to this year, and I hope we get a 2023 and 2024 area there for next year as well. So we went from November right through until April, and it was well attended. The kids all had a great time. We kind of worked from a action plan at the beginning of the year, knew where we were and where we wanted to end up with our group that was teaching the courses. The group also, they're building kind of a program catalog. So this year we worked as a team, and each one of the team members that were instructors for the programs, they're kind of building different opportunities, different offerings, and we have that to look at when we think about what do we want the program to look like next year. So we can easily see the lessons that they did, the resources for budgeting purposes, what were the supplies needed, and we even kind of are building a little bit of a feedback area there on that as well. So session 1 was kind of like our holiday theme. You can see some of the numbers there. The kids had a great time. We tried to do something covering multiple intelligences, STEM, creative arts, and physical fitness, SEL. We try to make something available for everyone for each one of our courses. I threw in a couple survey facts. I was happy to see that most of them, overwhelming majority of them, really enjoyed coming to after-school enrichment, and those were a couple quotes from the survey. Then we had our session 2, which ran after the holidays into February. You can see we had quite a variety. Mr. Herman is always, he's always got a great crew that follows him. We had quite a few who wanted to learn about introduction to wrestling from Mr. Terry, and you can see some of the other ones. The new one this year was the yoga and mindfulness. We actually had a waiting list for that program. So that was pretty impressive. We were able to get quite a few people signed up for that program. And as well as the Fort's first responder, our in-house nurse here, Mrs. Briscoe, invited the Fort Edward Rescue Squad to come. She did a whole thing on nutrition and self-care and things like that. And I think she had just as much fun as the kids did. We did a parent survey, as we always do, following up, just making sure we're, kind of getting some feedback from parents. I was happy to see 100% of parents felt that the experience was positive. And then there's a little bit of a quote there. At our third and final session, we had quite a few kids enrolled. It's always hard to compete with the start of softball and baseball and all of that stuff at this time of year. But our Happy Feet Club, we had to break it down into 2 sessions. They get out and do some hiking. They think it's hiking down the back hill. So they did an Earth Day cleanup. The artwork ceramics class learned all sorts of techniques on how to create different types of things using ceramics, and they learned all about a kiln. She had all of her lesson plans on there and did a whole thing on vocabulary that they needed to know for her course, so that was great. And of course, Pin Pals bowling, always a hit. And I want to thank you all for supporting that, because this year we were able to pay for that for the students. In the past, they've had to pay a little bit of a fee for that, but through the good negotiation skills of Mr. Chase and Dr. Damali, kind of making that a priority, we were able to send 20 kids up there. So it was a good time had by all. Our staff survey went out, and folks felt pretty strongly that kids benefited from the program and loved participating in them. We kept parents informed as to what was going on by using our parent communication piece that we use K through 5 called Class Dojo. So that allowed us to kind of showcase and keep parents up to date with what was going on. And then we did utilize a survey to kind of question all stakeholders that were involved in the courses and just make sure that we are kind of on track for developing future courses for our enrichment program. So these are just a couple different things that came out of the surveys. Here are a couple of different planning recommendations that I have as the coordinator. And I was even able to use some of the survey data to sit down with Mr. Donahue with the rec department and kind of go over some of the things kids clearly wanted to see in enrichment programs after school for next year. So I gave him a few ideas of some of the things he might be able to look into for maybe some summer rec programs. So next year, some things on our radar are maybe getting Mr. Herman to utilize that new machine that we're going to be getting soon. Lego Club came out, of high interest. We've got an educator here who really wants to get the Wizarding World of Fort Edward going next year. Cheer was something that came out through the surveys, and I did talk with one of our cheer coaches here, and she'd be very interested in kind of doing introduction to cheer through enrichment, sports mania, volleyball, and the trading cards, drawing club, all of those things. So just wanted to take a moment and thank everybody, because you certainly know around here it does take a village. So thank all of you for supporting the program, as well as our administration, and everybody that I have listed up here. Special shout out to our neighbor over in South Glens Falls, the bowling alley over there. We had about a week that Coach Chase had a conflict. He was doing our bowling program through the high school, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't get into Broadway lanes. They let us borrow some really cool big bowling simulator things to use while we had the kids here, and I think they had a great time with it. But again, thanks again to everybody who was on our after-school enrichment team, parents and students. And of course, thank you to Urban Tissue for their generous donation to help keep some of these programs going. I hope I was quick enough. Does anybody have any questions?
Lego Club, you have to go barefoot.
We did have it a couple of years ago ago, it was called Brick Buddies, but I think we need to resurrect it, kind of cycle it around. Yeah, Lego. There's a lot you can do. Thank you.
And I make,
Board committee and reports. I know we need to set a date for the policy committee.
Yes, I think Ella is a key member of that also, and she's not here, so the way I'll do that, if it's okay, and James is alternate, I'll send an email to her.
Perfect. So we got, folks, to set a date for that.
It'll be for June, no.
All right, and then next up, superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Roche, appreciate that. Before I begin my report, I just want to, number one, just thank Mr. Rader, Ms. Sherwood, Mr. Perkins, Mr. Diefenbeck, and our business office for all the work they put in. It was great to get some community questions today. This was our 6th presentation on the budget. It might be a little bit of overkill, but with the new administration and Chris only being here about 2 or 3 months, I think it was good to give out all that information. I think the biggest question we always have is, we were thinking about merging and doing some things a year ago, and now here we are talking about solvency and being here for decades. And the biggest change I would say is, number one is we're seeing, and Mr. Besson and Mr. Ward, we thank them for everything that they laid the bricks prior, because we're starting to see some of the shared services and that revenue coming back. I know no one likes to say some great things about the state, but this year they really came through. 9.1%, they increased the education budget by 9.5. We were able to see a 9.1 increase on state aid. So that, plus seeing your BOCES shared services coming back, plus having such a huge percentage to work with on your return in those investments, meaning, your shared services with BOCES, that's all coming now to fruition. And with the passage of this budget, I'm going to stay optimistic. We will absolutely be able to stay here for many more years to come. So it's just a great thing, but it's a tribute to Mr. Rader and his ability to get his feet going very quickly, and we thank him for that and all of that. So nice to I would be remiss if I didn't thank Mrs. Smacko for all of her work. This is, we're in school 10 months, we're at the 8th month now, and here she is giving you 3 phases that was probably about 6 months with kids. And, Aaron and Joyce, I don't know if you can speak for her, but we really did not do a whole heck of a lot of work on that. That was all her, organizing the staff, rallying the troops, going to Mr. Rader and myself for money for the bowling alley, and we were able to pull that off. So, because we usually have to charge the kids about $5 a piece to do that, and this year we were able to give that service for free. So, Mrs. Smacko, again, great job. Thank you.
Awesome.
Since the last board meeting, Dave, I'm glad you're here. I've been meeting with Dave and John from the town, or from the village, on our traffic pattern. They were able to put a new lighted crosswalk signs up there. If you don't see it, you have to press the button to make those lights work though. But they are there. They're great. We're taking steps this summer to shrink that bus zone so that actually there's going to be a student drop-off right in front of the school. So hopefully we'll eliminate that. We've noticed Dave was actually in the morning telling me, and so was the crosswalk guys, that really that bus is here from about 7:30-ish, and it's only one bus. So we could shrink that bus zone down and have people pull right next to the curb and drop kids off to make it much safer. So that's great. They're going to put up some lane dividers right at the beginning of Case Street. They're flexible, they won't hurt a car, but they'll be there so that if you're in that left lane, you have to go left and make that left turn onto Burgoyne and use that drop off. And if you're on the right side, hopefully use that student drop off, not the rest of this year, but come September, and keep on the right and move forward. So it's great. I mean, a lot of people have been putting in a lot of time to make that place safer, and we appreciate all that. And I think this summer, or pretty soon, they're going to paint that double line on Case Street and get that out of there, so now it'll truly be a one-way. So again, Dave and the village and John, Dave's been up here about 3 or 4 times early in the morning, watching it all and giving me a report, and I appreciate that. Did I miss anything, Dave?
Cover it down.
Thank you.
Good.
Sorry to call you on the carpet, but I figured I'd take advantage of it. Administrative Assistance Day was last week on April 26th, and we were able to take advantage of that, so thank you to all of our administrative assistants. Mrs. Ferguson is the only one here, but Ms. Carpenter was the other one, and we appreciate all the work that we do. PTO, they had a meeting, and we want to thank them for donating breakfast this morning on our conference day. Thank you so much. And recognition of our Teacher Appreciation Week. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So we thank all the teachers and all of that they do each and every day. And we appreciate them being those second parents and sometimes those really trusted adults to our kids all the time. I was able to go to a Diversity, Equity, and Instruction conference again, and I am now on the subcommittee for that with our chief school officers. We had the conference where many schools attended. We were able to get some great things. I think we're going to have to start looking at, reevaluating things, our hiring practices, and looking at our subgroups and some of that data to see how we want to attack that. And as Amanda mentioned, we really need to get a committee going for that starting in September, and we will do that. And then the year events, we've had some meetings on that. I am now certified as a crowd manager. So we're good for that. Today was Superintendent's Conference Day. The entire staff, I would say 95, 96, maybe even 97% of the staff now can perform CPR, first aid, and know how to use our AEDs. So that was fantastic. Again, thank you to Mr. Rader for helping us become part of the Employee Opportunities Program, EAP. I know that's not EAP, but that's the acronym. Employees Assistance Program, thank you. And as the lady said today, words, right? So that helps with counseling sessions, life coaching, nutritional. It's just a great thing. And we are now part of that for this year and starting for next year as well. And the staff participated in APARA training. And what that basically means, if we were all kids here and had our laptops, there'd be Casey, our teacher, looking at what we were looking at on our screens. So if she had that as board member, she'd be able to see if you were on your agenda or not. So, but in the classroom, that's something that we do. And that's just one perk of that training. So we are, again, thank you to Mr. Rader for allowing us to get all of these things to help our kids. Senior night for baseball and softball was last Friday over in Hartford, and we recognized 2 of our softball players and 1 baseball manager. Pictures are on the website. That last Friday was also National School Lunch Hero Day. We recognized our cafeteria people. As I said, the New York State budget was approved, 9.5 million, 9.5% increase in the state aid, which we are reaping the benefits of. And they did add $150 million to funding full-day pre-K. So we're hoping to take advantage of that funds as well. And discussing, but the bad news is, well, not bad news. It's bad news and good news, bittersweet. There is talk of increasing the minimum wage again, which could definitely impact our budget for next year. So we are going to have to really look at those projections, get with Bernie and Donegan again, and look at that 5-year plan. That's always a living document. And the other part that we did have to take a look, and we did assess our students, and we have taken steps to dissolve our cheer merger with Hudson Falls. We've decided that the fall's not going to work out for us, but one of our staff members is stepping up, becoming certified as a coach, and I think we're going to be, I want to get it squared away, but I'm going to say 80% right now. We are going to be able to offer cheer for our sideline basketball. So we'll have cheerleaders at the basketball games. So that'll be great. That's the goal. Future items, FES, we're continuing to negotiate with them. We have a meeting coming this Friday. We're getting closer. We're hoping to wrap that up soon. And As we mentioned in the budget newsletter I mentioned before, we have put in for a budget line item. We do have to discuss it as a board and the community about an SRO. But right now I did do some preliminary things, reached out to my superintendent colleague friends. Us in Cambridge, I believe, right now, are the only schools in Washington County that do not have one. That doesn't mean you have to have one, but just saying we're on a short list on there. Warrensburg and Salem did not have one this year, but I have put that in the budget for next year. And I did receive some SRO expectations and duties from several schools in our area, which were great. And some of the duties that I didn't know that include the obvious, our door checks, arrival and dismissal supervision, members of the school safety team. But the other ones that I keep forgetting about, going with us on those home visits, making that relationship. Special event assistance, such as we are going to be opening our doors to the public next Monday for the vote, and 12 to 3 will be open. And we have secured a sheriff to be here, just to be on the safe side. But that's something that we could utilize an SRO for. And education on law enforcement in our elementary, and helping them, because sometimes those little guys, their first interaction with law enforcement isn't always positive. So to give them an opportunity to have a positive interaction with a law enforcement individual at our school, I think it's a great thing. Softball and baseball league play ends Wednesday. We will, looking like we're gonna have a crossover game with our baseball team on Monday. Not sure about softball. And the tennis championship is tomorrow. We're at Echo Lake Camp, and I'll let you know how we do with the next board. Mr. Nearon unfortunately couldn't be here. He's definitely gonna be here in June. But he has been very busy. That's another individual I just want to thank for everything he's done. He's ordered shirts for the custodial staff. They'll be looking fine and professional in the next few days. Not that they didn't already, but they'll look even more. He's assessing the door heaters. And our 5 entranceways, our door heaters are not working properly or at all. So we have to he's looking at that. We do have some roof work that needs to be done, totaling about $20,000. We're looking at that. He's moving forward in the damaged transportation roof from the tree limb that fell. He is driving periodically to help us out. That's been an issue, but he's there, thank goodness now, and doing that and helping us out. Has done a lot of toilet repairs, unfortunately, but he's been working on that. He's been an asset in facilitating the boiler replacement. I think I told you, he did a class with our custodians, and he took colored poker chips, drilled holes in them, put them in each brushes, and now he's got 2 buckets, red and green, to avoid cross-contamination. Then he's trained those guys on that. I think it was great. We're trying to hire more part-time people. Our key inventory has been a little crazy, so he's worked with the key people to get the core recognition. And screens, especially on the first floor. He has been replacing and doing screens, which great thing for the spring, because I don't know if you remember, we had some bee problems. And then now that our heating was a little wonky, people couldn't open the windows because they didn't have a screen. So now we have screens and they can open up the windows to get some cool, fresh air in there. And obviously working on the new software for heating and cooling management. So very busy, doing a lot, and we're glad he's here.
Were the toilet repairs typical toilet repairs, or has there been intentional damage being created to them?
So atypical.
I would say yes. But what's happening is he talks to me every day, so I love it. So I can actually answer this question. So no. So we have, you know how the automated toilet is?
Yeah.
Okay. So in there's an eye. There's a sensor. To operate that sensor is a battery and a relay, and they don't make that assembly anymore for the toilets we have. So he's been trying to pull them apart, and he's got it now down that he believes it's the relay. So now he's trying to order those relays and get those fixed because they just seem to constantly run.
Okay.
And but we have had a couple of things where some things have been stuffed in there and causing some blockages.
Oh.
So a little bit of both. And that's all I have.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the treasurer reports in the packets, and we go to the K-12 principal report.
Right from here?
Oh, you can step up a little bit, why don't you come up right to the stage? Or why don't you just come on up so that way the owl can see you and all the people.
And the microphone.
You should do all those things. I got the podium?
Take the podium.
All right, so good evening. Happy to report, the prom is happening this Saturday at the Fort William Henry. So we're really excited about that. Testing participation, we the past couple weeks have been 3 through 8 assessments. Our testing participation rates were not as good as we had hoped. 74% for ELA, 72% for math. I am happy to report, though, that 90% of our 3rd graders and 8th graders participated. So we've got a few really strong cohorts there. So, you know, the plan is for next year to really educate the community, educate parents about the benefits of the testing and what we plan to do with the data. I think once we kind of put it out there that we're using the data to improve our instruction, rather than to judge their children. I think that's a better connotation, and hopefully we can get some more people on board to have their children test. We do have 8th grade science testing happening on June 5th, and historically fewer children refuse the science test. Not exactly sure why, but usually the science participation rates are much higher than ELA and math. We have just posted our Regents prep schedule, so that's posted on the website and posted on Facebook. All of our teachers who teach classes that end in a Regents exam are either having before school, after school, or dedicated during school prep sessions to try to make sure that our students are performing as well as they can on those Regents exams. We had a trip to New York City for 10th and 11th graders. That was a success. Would you agree, Elle? All right. It was great. We went to the Jewish Heritage Museum, which was pretty moving, and all of our 10th graders and 11th graders have been studying that in global or U.S. history, and had also either had read Night in 10th grade or were about to read Night in 10th grade. So everybody had been kind of preset for this trip. It was pretty emotional. It was pretty exciting. Kids had never been to the city before, some of them, and again, I had never been to that museum, and it was really moving. We then went to the 9/11 Museum, which also was very emotional, especially some of our students were letting me know that they had family members who they had never met, but who had died in that horrible day. So they were pretty moved by that as well, taking pictures of family members' names and bringing those kind of mementos home. And then we broke off, and some people went to Little Italy and got to get pizza at Lombardi's, which is on the National Historic Registry, so that was pretty good. And then some of the rest of us went to Battery Park and then did a little shopping, and kids really like to be in the city. They thought it was just like neat to be part of that energy, and I had one of my students doing the navigating with my little group, and she did a fabulous job navigating our little group of 8 people around downtown New York City. So that was pretty good. That was pretty great. We do have an incentive trip planned on June 8th to Lake Lauderdale for all students in grades 6 through 12 who have no referrals and only 2 absences since March 15th. Currently, about 60 of our 183 junior, senior high school students are on target to go. So they will have a great day at the lake while everybody else will be here wishing they were at the lake and hoping to change their habits for next year. Some really good news this past weekend was NYSSMA, which is a performance festival that's primary goal is for students preparing a solo on their respective instrument or voice to perform for a judge who gives them a numerical grade and written comments. Solos are categorized by level 1 through 6 based on their difficulty. Levels 1 through 4 are graded out of 28 points, while levels 5 and 6 are graded out of 100 points. This year, we had 13 students perform. In levels 1 through 4, 6 students received an excellent rating, and 4 received an outstanding rating. And in the more difficult levels, 5 and 6, 3 students received at least an 89 out of 100. So our music department is really building, and our students are really taking advantage of opportunities that are being given to them. And my last piece of information, our attendance rates. Year to date, we are at 89.62%. Best attendance remains 2nd grade and 12th grade, with the addition of 4th and 6th coming in at 92%. So there's some positive movement there. Most room for growth is still our 9th grade with 80% attendance. And this quarter, we're at 90% attendance, with our best attendance in 2nd grade with 96% attendance this quarter. And 3rd and 11th both had 95% attendance this quarter. And the most room for growth, again, in 9th and 10th grade, both with 80% attendance. So slow rise in that, but definitely seeing some more students coming to school. You know, I think some of the sicknesses are over, better weather, and just a lot of great things happening during the day that kids don't want to miss. So I think that's where we want to focus, is making sure there are things here for kids to come do and reasons to come to school. So, questions?
I want 9th grade to finish strong.
No kidding. We can get them to 81.
Finish strong. Come on, 9th grade.
Exactly. They have climbed up though. They were in the 70s earlier, so.
I'd love nothing more than to keep her back. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, people services reports.
So, for the first time, we have a Pupil Services newsletter, which you guys all have. Just some really good positive things happening in the area of special education and ANS support. Because often you don't hear about the good, right? So we want to give the good first and give the bad second. So it's really good. Lots of fun things happening around. And the most important thing for this month is Better Hearing and Speech Month. So take care of your ears and your mouth and be happy. So some things happening in special education in our world. We have some site indicators that are coming up. One that we are doing well with is we were indicated as a district not doing timely preschool evaluations. And so since September, we've become a site for evaluators. And so we can evaluate our own kids and we can even treat our own students. And because of that, we are no longer on the list. So April was a good month. We got off one list. However, we've got on to a couple other ones. We're doing a survey again this year, which is parent involvement. We were cited last year to do it. We didn't do a good job on it, so we get to do it again this year. So we're about halfway through, and we got about halfway of the amount that they want. They want 45 surveys. We have about 25 in. We're only halfway through annuals. We should be fine. Parents are doing them literally as soon as CSE is done. We're asked to sit down and complete the survey and close it, and then we'll mail it. So we have more of a return rate. I think last year they were just mailed home, and then they didn't get a good return rate. So that was kind of a problem. In the past, we were indicated as number 10. We're doing an audit on June 1st of children placed out of district who are identified as, by their race, ethnicity, too many white children placed out of district in more restrictive settings, and too many white children classified in special education based upon the size of our district. So in order to do that, I know we're primarily a white population, but proportionality-wise, there's too many that are in those categories. And we certainly have improved since September when I got here. We're 11 children less out of district, which if they use this year's data, we probably wouldn't be cited on it, but they use last year's data. So we're always improving on that. So June 1st, we'll have an all-day audit in my office to go through what we've done well and things that we need to improve upon. But then this morning, we got an email from the state indicating us that we are now going to be, as they say, let's see how they say it correctly, We are a focused intervention targeted skills group, including targeted professional development from the regional partnership, to focus on comprehensive, coordinated early intervention services requiring based on the district's significant disproportionality of data. So what that means in short is the state is going to give us support to help us and our staff better provide instruction, better provide interventions for our children without having to classify them or send them out of district. So it's good news, it's free help. It's work that we need to do, it's work that we were going to do on our own anyway. This is just going to push it a little bit faster. And I should be hearing from Kathy Gomes in a short time about how she wants to set that up for us. And another part of that is also better ways to get community engagement in our schools to help our community understand early intervention with children. Read to your child when they're young. What do you do birth to 3? What do you do 3 to 5? To help have kids better ready for school, so by the time we get them at 5, they've had exposure to education. Sometimes our kids come in at 5 and they don't have home books, they don't have the basic needs that we would normally give our kids. So they're going to do more of that. We're also in the process of doing transition planning for the secondary level, 9th through 12th grade. We've had Jody from BOE, who's been wonderful. She's reviewing all of our plans for us before the state will review them. So knowing that, I'm very confident that we're going to get that 100% cleared and that won't be a problem for us. But that has been something on our radar too. So lots of busyness in special education, but on the good news, in 21-22 school year, we were 26.3% classified. When I walked in the door, we were 24%, in February we were 22%, and now we're down to 21%. So children have moved, children have been brought back in the building, we're growing capacity, we're gonna open up that secondary elementary special class this year. We have children to come, and we have 3 other districts that want to help bring their kids here, and they're going to pay for that. So that's gonna basically cover the cost of our program, but we can then build capacity within and grow our own, which will definitely help us get off of these lists and keep our children home where we want them. So that's gonna make a huge difference. Some great news, and I know that Jessica can help me with this. Class Dojo and character education is going phenomenally well. We're going into our 4th month in a week, and we're going to be having our next seminar. The kids are having a great time. You can see them going down the hallway, you can hear them clicking on the Class Dojo, and they're earning points, and they wanna earn points. So pre-K to 5th grade is doing phenomenal with that. Next month we plan to get the data and see how that has changed our referral rate and how it's changed children earning points to go towards the Class Dojo store, and then as well as to go, we want to do some end of the year events where you can buy into an event and share your great new skills that you've learned in your classroom. So that's going to be really, really very positive. So we're looking forward to that. So that is all the great things that are happening in special ed. Lots of work to do, but like I said, it's on our old data. I really can't control what we already did. All I can do is do the best we can and move forward and get better processes in place, which you guys already know we've been doing from the beginning. We haven't had a director, and this is why I think we need a director kind of supervising that department so that we can get that all in a better place. Any questions?
This is fantastic.
Thank you.
I look forward to reading that more closely. What's the plan for this? I mean, yes, we as board members, I love to have it, but is this going out to staff also?
Yes.
It's going to get posted on
Yeah, it's going to get
and all of
posted.
that?
Yeah, all of that. Posted on staff, parents, so we're going to give the board a preview tonight.
Okay, great.
And then tomorrow it's going out to everybody. And my plan is September, like a fall newsletter, a winter newsletter, and a spring newsletter.
Great.
So that will help a lot. And then, this is our first one out, but I want to put in some of the things we're cited on as well as another alert to staff and to students so they know that we're not just doing this because we want to, we're doing it because we have mandates and requirements that we have to meet under the law that we're going to have to follow and educate everybody as we go.
I think that's great.
Yeah, so
providing that information and that education, because it comes down to the compliance piece and trying to get everything.
100%. And I've been working on it. It's just, you can't control what's happening prior to us. But we've made steps in the right direction. Just the fact that we're a preschool site to evaluate our own children now. Kids are waiting months before they can get evaluated because there's 2 outside districts now that can do evaluations, from your experience. Now being our own, the parents bring them right in. There's no delay. get them services as soon as we can get them, and then get them the help they need while they're young, so that maybe we don't need it once they hit school age.
And the other piece would be disproportionality, non-compliance. That's happening throughout the state, and those indicators were put into place to try and prevent minorities from being overclassified. It's also in the discipline realm. And now districts that are mostly white districts are now having to meet requirements because they're disproportionately classifying or disciplining. And it's backwards. It's not what it was ever put in place for.
Correct.
And now districts, we're not the only one here, districts in the region are having to spend time, energy, resources, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources to watch their videos, do their paperwork, and say, okay, we'll try to do things better, when it's not what it was even put in.
It's not a previous district I worked at was cited for too many African-American boys, suspended more than 10 days. And that was, you know, look at your population, like, okay, I can see that's disproportionate comparably, and it was like the same 7 kids. But for us, we are primarily white, but compared to our overall population, we shouldn't have this many identified children. In general, the state likes us between 12 and 14, we're, you know, way higher than we should be. But as long as I'm going in the right direction, I think Dr. Brown would agree, and you guys would agree that we're doing it the right way, and we're building capacity within, but at the same time, we have to provide training and support to the staff. I can't just say, bring all the kids back, and then we don't know what to do. So that takes time and effort, and it takes finances to be able to train everybody the right way.
Right, but that's a good point too, because you have the state doing the disaggregated information and take a look at the same thing that we're looking at, recognizing problems that we know that we have,
Correct.
which is very hard to deal with. They're going to throw in money and extra help. So for us, it may look on the face of it not good, but the bottom line, it isn't.
Right, because it gives us help.
We recognize it.
Yes.
That's the hit. So
Yeah, and we
find
talked
that.
about it in executive session that, you know, with our administration, these are areas that we need to focus on. AIS, those are areas that we need to focus on. We have it, you know, K through 5, but then 6th grade to 12th grade, not as much, and that's how kids really get themselves in trouble, because they just fall further and further behind. And then what do we give them? There's not a lot of support at that level. So special ed is it. So we do that. We're heading in the right direction, so I'm very pleased about that, and the work will be great, and you don't see me a lot, it's because I'm busy preparing for all this. It's all good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You don't get any questions? You're welcome.
Right, next up is our student board member, how are you?
So I asked around how kids would feel about a resource officer, and the majority said it would make them feel a lot safer, and they would want one there, while some were like, no, I don't want that, but the majority said it was good. So I honestly think it would be a good idea, probably get the attendance up a little bit. And I also asked about the new cafe food, and they all like that as well. It has definitely gotten better over the years, my personal opinion. And the boys are excited about their divider in the bathroom.
Very important.
A simple thing makes them happy.
That's all I got. New York City trip was good. Everybody definitely enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Thanks for putting the feelers out about that school resource officer. That helps us a lot, knowing how the other kids feel.
Are you going to prom?
Yes, she's going to prom.
Yeah.
She
Thanks.
better be going to prom.
Have fun at
All right, discussion item, board seat vacancy discussion. Lead this.
So, you know, there are 2 options. You know, obviously we go and try to put out for a vote and get candidates.
Can I pause you?
Oh,
It's not
sure.
out in public that there is a board seat vacancy, or when that even starts, I think it needs to be stated who is resigning.
Gotcha. So, Ms. Christina Durkee is resigning from her board seat effective June 1st. So what do we do in that time? So effectively, she has the seat through the next budget vote, which is normally when you would put in for your candidates for the board. We could run a special election. To run a special election, it's probably $5,000 to $10,000 to do, with all of the reporting that has to happen, bringing in all of voting machines, all of that stuff. And then the second way to do it is that you would appoint, the board would work to appoint a person to sit on the board and complete her term, which I believe, someone help me, her term would end.
It's 2 years.
2 years from now.
2-year term, so it would be a 2-year term. So, and I believe you've been through that type of process before, so I'm going to ping pong it back to you.
Yeah, so point being, special election, obviously, you didn't have the information in time to garner signatures for candidates for this budget vote next week, so we are in a position where we have to decide whether we appoint someone or, like what you said, have a special election. We do have a practice in place for appointing a board member. We've done it at least twice before in my tenure here, where we go out to the public. And I think the last time we did it, we said, hey, we'd like to know if anyone's interested in being appointed to the board. We did put that we had a preference if someone had Board of Education experience, but it wasn't a requirement. It was just a preference. And folks emailed the board clerk with expressing their interest, and then the board would take a look at those applicants, decide on some interviews, and then eventually appoint someone. I think the last time it happened, 2 folks had shown interest, 1 had dropped out, and that's how Ms. Supernaut got on board the last time. So we do have a practice in place for appointment. So it comes down to the board deciding by majority whether we want to go out to a special election or to appoint a seat. We have 90 days to make a decision from the time of resignation. So we do have some time to take a look at folks who are interested and get the word out there, if that's the way we decide to go.
Question. I think we have, if we were to go the appointment route, I think we would have 2 options with that. One could be that we appoint for a year of the 2-year seat, and then it goes to vote next year at that vote time. Or to appoint somebody to fulfill the remainder of the seat. Am I saying that correctly?
I think you're right. I think they would recommend us to have that board seat filled until the next election.
Okay.
So it would be a 1-year seat, and then it would be official election. That person obviously could run for that seat, and someone else can. And at that point, we just have to do some quick math because we are dropping down to 7. So the reason why we're filling, because my seat will expire, and then that seat will continue, which would keep us at 7. So yeah, so it would go to the next year, and then we have the election at the same time. I don't know if we could appoint someone for the full term. I'm not sure. I can check it out.
Right. So is that something, I can't remember, do we actually, as a board, do we vote which thing we would want to do, or do we just have discussion about it and start providing direction?
Consensus would give us a direction that we need to apply. Yeah, so I think just a consensus on what the preference is, and really it's 2 options. Point for that 1-year term, or 2 years if possible, and have a special election. So we can probably get that part done right now if everybody's ready. Don't miss the 2 board members.
Yeah, remember, it makes it easier too, because we do have a past practice.
Yes,
It's really kind of simple, and we want to be really transparent.
Yeah, so who's in favor of sending information out to the public and seeking to appoint someone?
Aye.
All right, that was easy. That's the way we're gonna go. We'll take a look at the wording and the process that we did the last time, getting it out to the public, garnering applicants with occasion.
If I can interject, we did hear from the attorneys. They gave us some quick verbiage under education law, that does say, that person elected would fill such vacancy, take office immediately, and then, they would just serve until the next vote.
Okay,
So then you wouldn't
this
put it
is
down.
What happens if we don't get any interest for the appointed we have?
We're just gonna have to street or have somebody up there and put them in the seat.
I mean, it sounds crazy.
No, it's a
So
great
that's why-
thing. We only had two last time, and one dropped out, so we could find ourselves with no one wanting to step up, and, I guess we'd probably actively go out and ask people to serve.
Yeah, because then I was gonna say, it's not like we can do a special election anyways, because there's still no one.
Right.
Yeah, right, exactly, especially as we're doing all items, yeah, so, yeah, that's a good point. If no one does show interest by a certain date, we'll have a deadline for the applicants. And if we don't have anyone, then I think we get together and say, hey, this person was awesome, let's see if we'll ask them if they want to do something, so.
And our reason for the preference for somebody who was on the board before is because it's somebody who would have had the two Board of Ed trainings.
Yes, the required training.
The governance training, the shared training, and so that was the reason for the preference, not that it.
Not a requirement.
And
Not
also,
a requirement, it didn't mean that somebody else.
right, but also you're serving such a short time, it's nice because it's such a huge learning curve, it's better off getting it with some experience so you can actually be.
Right.
Contributing.
Awesome. All right, cool, so that business, that's great, and we'll start actively seeking, votes. Cool. All right, so moving to the consent agenda. Can I get approval for consent agenda items A through D? Motion. Taylor, Tim, all in favor? Any discussion? Aye. Motion to approve the CSE CPSC recommendations as included in the board package. Need a motion? Amanda? Taylor? Any discussion? All in favor? A motion to accept a generous donation of an American flag from the American Legion, Post 574, James, John. Any discussion, except for a big thank you again? All in favor? Aye. Motion to accept a generous donation of a new POW flag from Alicia Carpenter. Amanda, Taylor, any discussion other than thank you again, Ms. Carpenter? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the second reading of the following revised policies as listed on the agenda. Taylor, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you to the policy committee.
All appointments are subject to change in compensation proration pending emergency school closing or required reduction in force. All coaching appointments are made pending completion of verification of all required coaching credentials. The stipend for FNTA contract commensurate with experience and no other salary or benefits. All coaching extracurricular appointments are subject to reduction in compensation proration pending final school enrollment numbers and pending the outcome of any potential mergers and emergency school closings. I need a motion to approve the appointment of Janet Silburn as piano accompanist at a rate of $500 for 6 rehearsals and 1 concert effective May 8th, 2023. Need a motion? Motion. Tim? Amanda? Any discussion?
Can I ask where that number came from, just out of curiosity?
I believe that's what she charges.
Yeah,
I have
go up with something you pulled out of something I've never seen anywhere?
No, I went to the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so the way it went down was, I prefer live music. So I asked if there was any way we could make sure that happened. And, so, the music teachers put out a blanket statement. This is who they were able to get. They went through the teachers in the 9 churches I think they went to in the area. That was the one person that went. And I asked what the charge was, and it's the number.
Okay, so it's because it's, it goes to one I've never seen before. So
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
That's awesome. I mean, Miss Howard, remember she used to do all the piano?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Okay, so, all in favor? Motion motion to approve the appointment of Karina Mori as substitute teacher effective May 2023 at a rate for the SASTA contract of $92.30 per day. Any motion? Amanda? Taylor? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, is there any request for public comment?
No, but can I make one comment, just for record? Can I be the public comment? I just wanted to let all of you and the public know, I did just put the link for that long-range, plan, on our budget info part of our website. So that is also available to everybody right on our website, if anybody wants to take a look at that helpful information.
Awesome.
That is efficient. Thank you.
No other comments.
Can I chime in with one other thing? I love these pictures that were in our packets this time as for the special recognition. That was a really nice addition.
Thank you.
Know what's getting talked
They were
about.
very cute.
That was Mrs. Ferguson's idea. I cannot take credit for
I
that.
thought so. Nice job. I like it.
Thank you. I thought it would be very helpful to see what we were actually talking about rather than just certificates, and they are adorable.
Yeah.
It's really cool music, it's interesting.
They actually have a, they have those electric poles or they have a racing horse that you can get on and ride.
Yeah, so no second public comment. I need a motion to enter an executive session, to discuss matters related to negotiations with a specific entity, as well as the appointment of specific individuals. Need a motion? Amanda? John? Board of Education members and other individuals invited to executive session are reminded that all matters discussed during executive session must be kept in strictest confidence. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, folks, appreciate your comment. We know, we will not do the business. Ellen.